Hello my dear students, I am Priyanka Koiri, your science teacher, and the chapter that we are discussing is force and laws of motion. Okay, so in the last class we discussed about what is force and the various effects of force, and we also discussed about balanced and unbalanced force. Okay, and there was a small discussion about force of friction also. So let us just quickly revise what we have studied in the previous class. Okay, so force of friction. Force of friction is the force which opposes the motion of an object over a surface. For example, a ball rolling on the ground gradually slows down and comes to a stop due to force of friction. Okay, second example is, if we stop pedaling a bicycle, it gradually slows down and come to stop due to force of friction. So what is force of friction? Force of friction is a force which restricts any kind of motion. Okay, clear? Now an object with uniform motion will continue to move with uniform motion if the force acting on it are balanced. So if an object is at uniform motion, it will be in the state of uniform motion if the force that are acting on it, that is your pushing force and the frictional force, are balanced. And if an unbalanced force acts on the moving body, then its speed or direction of motion changes. And if we apply like any other force, like any other external force, then it will change the direction or speed of that moving object. Okay, if the unbalanced force is removed, then it will continue to move with the speed it had acquired till then. Okay, now if that unbalanced force is removed from that object, then it will continue to move with the speed with which it was moving earlier. Okay, now coming to our next topic, which is about Galileo's experiment of motion of an object on an inclined plane. Okay, so this is a very famous experiment of Galileo. So what does this experiment says? Okay, so let us study. When a marble rolls down an inclined plane, its velocity when a marble rolls down an inclined plane, its velocity increases, and when it goes up the inclined plane, its velocity decreases. So as you can see from the diagram, there is a marble which is rolling down. So whenever it rolls down, its velocity increases, and when it rolls up, its velocity decreases. If the inclination of both the plane are equal, then the marble will reach the same height with which it is rolled down. Now if the angle of inclination, if in both the inclined plane, if it is equal, then the height from which you have dropped the marble from one part, the marble, with the height with which it was dropped, the marble will reach the same height when it rolled up. Okay, if the inclination of the second plane is decreased, it will travel more distance to reach the original height. Now if the height of that second plane is decreased, then the marble will travel more distance to reach the original height. If the inclination of the second plane is made horizontal, okay, if the inclination of the second plane is made horizontal, the marble will travel forever to reach the same height. Now if the angle of inclination is made 0, then the marble will travel forever trying to reach the same height. An unbalanced force is required to change the motion of the marble, but no force is needed to sustain the uniform motion of the marble. Okay, clear? Now based on this, Newton have formulated, based on the experiments of Galileo, Newton formulated 3 laws. So let us quickly study what are his 3 laws of motion. Okay, so what does Newton's first law of motion state? So Newton's first law of motion states that an object remains in a state of rest or in uniform motion in a straight line unless compelled to change that state by an applied force. Okay, so Newton's first law states that an object remains in the state of rest or motion in a straight line until and unless an external force is applied on it. Now next is inertia. The natural tendency of object to remain in the state of rest or in motion is called inertia. So inertia is the tendency of an object to remain in the state of rest or uniform motion. All the objects that is present, it doesn't want to be disturbed. This undisturbed state or this undisturbed tendency is called your inertia. This is why the first law of motion is also known as law of inertia. Okay, now let us understand inertia with the help of some examples. The first example is, if a striker hits a pile of coin on a carom board, the lowest coin moves out, and due to inertia of rest, the other coins falls down. So whenever you play carom, whenever you strike the lower coins, all so as soon as the lower coin is removed, all the other coin falls down. Okay, if a coin placed on a playing card over a tumbler is flickered with the finger, due to inertia of rest, the coin falls down into the tumbler. Third example is, when we travel in a car and the driver applies the brakes suddenly, we tend to fall forward due to inertia of motion. Okay, you all have experienced that, I guess. When we are standing in a bus and the bus begins to move suddenly, we tend to fall backward because our feet in contact with the floor moves forward, but the upper part of the body continues to remain at rest due to inertia of rest. So whenever we are standing in a bus and the bus suddenly starts to move, we always tend to fall backward. This is because our feet is in contact with the floor of the bus and the bus starts moving, and the upper part of our body continues or wants to remain in the state of rest. As a result, we fall backward. Okay, now what is inertia and mass? A body at rest continues to be at rest, and a body in motion continues to be in motion. This property of a body is called inertia. Clear? The inertia of a body is measured by the magnitude of the force required to change the state of the body. The force required to change the state of a heavier body is more than the force required to change the state of a lighter body. This is because mass of the heavier body is more than the mass of the lighter body. Okay, now we know that inertia is that state of an object to remain either in rest or to remain either at motion. Now this inertia is measured by the magnitude of the force required to change the state. Okay, now for a heavier body, the force required to change its state is more than the force required to change the state of lighter body. This is because mass of heavier body is more than mass of lighter body. So we can say that the mass of a body is measure of inertia. Okay, clear? Next is your momentum of a body. Okay, the momentum of a body is the product of mass and velocity. Okay, what is momentum? Momentum is the product of mass and velocity. Momentum is represented by P, mass is represented by M, and velocity is by V. So P equals to mv. Okay, now if a body is at rest, its velocity is 0, so its momentum is also 0. So whenever a body which is at rest, its velocity will be 0. As a result, its momentum will also be 0. The SI unit of momentum is kilogram meter per second or kg meter per second. Okay, so this is the SI unit of momentum. You have to remember that. For example, a truck moving at a very slow speed can kill a person standing in its path because of the heavy mass of truck. Okay, now if a truck is moving at a very slow speed, it can kill a person because of its mass. A bullet of small mass, when fired from a gun, can kill a person because of the large velocity of the bullet. Now a bullet which is of very small mass can kill a person, can also kill a person because of its large velocity. So the impact of the body depends upon its mass and velocity. In the first case, you can see a truck is moving which is at slow speed, but its mass is more, so it can kill a person. And in the second case, you can see the mass is small but its velocity is more, so and also it is capable of killing a person. Now in both these cases, the impact of the body depends upon mass and velocity. Okay, now with this I have we have come to the end of today's class. The next topic, that is Newton's second law of motion, will be discussed in the next class. Thank you.